We all know about cancer and common cancers. So, endometrial cancer, skin cancer, liver cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer.
Yeah.
These five cancers, people who drink coffee have a lower cancer mortality from these. So, five cancers: cirrhosis of the liver, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's dementia, the early stage of Alzheimer's called cognitive decline,
Okay.
low risk in coffee drinkers, low risk of type 2 diabetes. Here, both decaf and regular coffee work. And if you drink 4 to 6 cups, there's a 40 to 54% reduction in developing type 2 diabetes. And if one already has type 2 diabetes and they drink 2 cups, regular or decaf, there's a 30% reduction in cardiovascular mortality.
Beyond wine, we really care about health. The health of the planet and the health of each other. That's what inspired us to start this business. Our family of team members meets every morning for a group meditation, followed by an open gratitude session. We believe a sound mind with a focus on peace is the best instrument for change. Joint meditation is the cornerstone of our company culture, and it helps us remember what's important, spreading joy and love, just like our family growers. Our family is a collection of passionate, health-conscious individuals who love to laugh and enjoy each other's company. We eat seasonally, grow our own vegetables, cook together, and share wine. Our team is incredibly dedicated to our mission. Everything from sourcing the wines to answering service questions. Your natural wines are found and sourced around the world by our wine team. They taste every one, oversee their lab testing, and choose exactly which ones go in which box. If you order, your individual box will be packed by our incredibly hardworking fulfillment team. If you have any questions, your service requests will be handled by a wonderfully loving member experience family who only have one goal in mind, your 100% happiness. This video is put together by our talented media team, filmed and edited in-house, just like the rest of our artful media. From our unique creations to our printed lifestyle piece called A Matter of Taste. We put love into everything we do, and we hope to share it with you.
Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst show. Hey, it's a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health problems when you become your own doctor and search for the functional cause. Hey, my name is Dr. Aaron Ernst, and I love that today of all days, man, I am super excited. We had our Diabetes Heal Thyself Masterclass this morning. Over 500 people online. We heard from local residents who have cleared themselves from diabetic to pre-diabetic, pre-diabetic to non-diabetic with confirmation on their labs of their sugars coming down and their A1C coming down when they implemented what I'm going to teach you today, the Cliff Notes towards diabetes, okay? We look at this as a way, think of it as an all-inclusive approach to find the underlying root causes. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but listen to some of the statistics. Right now, diabetes is on the increase. According to a publication called Diabetes 2030 in the National Institutes of Health, they're predicting that by 2030, there will be a 54% increase in the number of people diagnosed with diabetes. I don't know about you guys, but like a 54%, that's a doubling within the next, less than 10 years. And the challenge becomes it's not just the number of people being diagnosed, it's the complications, it's even the morbidities. So this same article, Diabetes 2030, published in the National Institutes of Health, says there will be a 38% increase in the number of people dying from type 2 diabetes. So guys, this is a condition that right now is costing Americans not only just money, but our lives, our livelihood, our day-to-day functionality. Did you know that in healthcare, 1 out of every $4 spent is because of something to do with diabetes? And it's up into the neighborhood of $240 to $250 billion annually. So while this condition is growing and growing and growing, you would ask the question, if we're spending all this money and we're investing all this time, how come we can't solve this thing called diabetes? Like, why do so many people struggle with elevated blood sugars, elevated A1C, weight loss resistance, and all of the things that come with it? This is me. This is just, I'm giving you my personal opinion on this. I think it's because in healthcare, we have focused on insulin as being only just related to blood sugars. Now, for those of you on our live stream, I'm holding up an infographic which shows the hormone insulin and its many effects. Notice how insulin is connected to inflammation. And we know inflammation is a root cause of all disease. Inflammation is connected to elevated testosterone in women and elevated estrogen in men, i.e. hormone imbalance, which we know is connected to a whole host of other health conditions. We know that inflammation increases oxidative stress. And insulin's connected to your neurotransmitters. Watch this. Cortisol and blood pressure are connected to insulin, and it shuts down your detox pathways. So if we only see diabetes as a blood sugar issue, we're missing the mark. If we only treat it as something you can give a medication to, and again, I'm talking right now about what is done conventionally. If you go and meet with a physician and you take a pharmaceutical, unfortunately, it's being seen as some sort of a magic pill that's going to lower your sugars and make you lose weight, but they never, rarely do they ever go into the nature of the fact that there are always negative side effects, there's always complications, and instead of just masking the problem, making labs look good and making your numbers look great, we're in a state of today where we're not addressing why. Why is there a lot of insulin floating around the blood? Why is blood sugar high? Why is there inflammation? And connecting the dots between that and the blood pressure elevations, the cholesterol elevations, etc. So right now, in healthcare, conventionally, it's take this pill, lose some weight, and come back in 6 months and let's see if your numbers look better. And if they don't, then of course we have even more medications. And the problem is that this is now a $1 billion industry. We talked about this, 245 upwards to $250 billion spent. If you look at it from I hate to say this, but from a dollar making idea, if we were going to teach people how to get rid of diabetes, then you would be shutting down this massive industry. And when you look at profit over patient care, unfortunately, what you find is now we're into the world of propaganda. Did you know the pharmaceutical industry spends 19 times more on promotion of their own products than they do on research to try to develop ones that actually work effectively? And again, I know that you guys are all out there and you've heard this about, metformin and glucophage and Actos and all these new ones that are supposed to help you lose weight, etc. But don't get stuck in the mantra, okay? It's very confusing for the average person who's recently diagnosed with diabetes because there's so much misinformation out there that it becomes almost complicated to know what should we do to help ourselves. So I've done a couple things for all of you. We have an ebook called Diabetes Heal Thyself. It's a functional guide to addressing blood sugar issues. You can download this for free. We gave it away all during the last couple weeks and during the masterclass, and this is your last chance right now to grab this. If you'd like the ebook, text the phrase diabetes with your name and email to 704-906-2094. And hey, listen, as a bonus, you're going to get access to the masterclass that we hosted today. all of the techniques needed for you to become your own physician and lower your blood sugars, get your A1C under control. Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook, the Diabetes Heal Thyself Masterclass. Think of it as a gift we're going to give to you today. Simply send your name and your email along with the phrase diabetes as a text to 704-906-2094. So what did we talk about in this masterclass today? Well, here's the cliff notes towards diabetes, okay? Functionally or naturally, holistically, however you want to look at it, there are 3 underlying root causes that have been researched, have been shown with evidence, and actually the underlying reason why insulin starts to change, why inflammation goes up, why our hormones get out of balance, why our cholesterol and blood pressure climbs, and it's because insulin is so much more than just a hormone for blood sugar. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is a root cause known as subluxation. Now, in the world of chiropractic, this is a condition where your spine becomes out of alignment. It starts to put pressure and irritation to a nerve root. And why this is important is nerves send signals from your brain to your organs. And I know you might be thinking like, okay, so explain to me this concept between my spine and my blood sugars. Well, think of it this way. Your pancreas has to receive a signal to know how much insulin to secrete. So when sugars elevate in the blood, the brain becomes aware. An actual physical message is sent with energy down the spinal cord, over the nerve roots, out of the thoracic vertebra to the pancreas, and the pancreas secretes insulin. This is the neurological communication. Are there hormones that also get involved? Yes, but understand the basic roots. There's a nerve, a wire that connects the brain to the pancreas. Now, your liver also regulates your blood sugars. It has the ability to store sugar and secrete sugar. So what if the liver is getting the wrong signal because of a interference, a subluxation, less light going to the body because of a disc that's wedged or a spine that's out of alignment? And I know that you guys might be thinking, again, let me hear some research behind this. Where's the evidence? Okay, well, number one, I'm going to read to you a couple articles that have been published. These are all in the Annals of Vertebral Subluxation, showing the effects of removing subluxation. Again, what is a subluxation? It's probably a new term for all of you. It's when your spine becomes misaligned, the discs are wedged, the bones are out of alignment, and the nervous system becomes interfered with. So instead of sending a normal, healthy signal out to the pancreas, out to the liver, out to your adrenal glands, the nerves are inflamed, therefore the tissues become inflamed. And chiropractically, do we treat diabetes? No. Because again, see, diabetes is like a check engine light, all right? So it's a warning, something's wrong, something's going on. And how many of you, when you see a check engine light in your car, would pull over, grab some masking tape or duct tape, and tape over that check engine light and go, solve that problem, don't have to worry about this anymore? Okay, but the same analogy is what we're doing medically when we treat diabetes, right? We give you a medication, doctors do, that lowers your sugars. It might a little bit, making the engine light turn off, but the root system, the cause is not addressed. Is subluxation a root cause of diabetes? Well, look at what the research shows. Resolution of type 2 diabetes in a patient undergoing subluxation-based chiropractic and dietary recommendations. So what they're talking about in this article is that when a chiropractor can find subluxations and remove them, your nervous system gets better, the signals from your brain to your body get stronger, organic function becomes more effective, and if you have sugar issues, etc., you might be able to see a reduction. Reading word for word, a 61-year-old male presented to a chiropractor with a 20-year history of type 2 diabetes. So imagine this, 20 years of doctor's visits, medications, probably being told, look, there's nothing you can do. It's in your genes. It'll never go away. Do you see the misinformation? And it said here that chiropractic adjustments were delivered to the spine. Dietary modifications, including methods to reduce inflammation, were implemented, and after 1 month of chiropractic care and dietary changes, the patient was able to stop their medications for type 2 diabetes, and after 2 months of chiropractic care, returned to their medical doctor with confirmation on labs. Confirmation, guys, that blood sugars were stable, numbers returned to normal. Did the removal of subluxation help in this instance? Yes, because nervous system function increased. How do you determine if you have a subluxation? Hey, look, that's a great question. One method is to use spinal thermography. Again, if you're on our live stream, I'm holding up a picture of a graph that shows irritation and inflammation in various spots of the spine. Thermography will pick up the heat. It'll pick up the swelling. And because subluxation is a misalignment of the spinal bones causing pressure and irritation to the nerve root, heat will be generated at the region of the irritation. So this wonderful technology called spinal thermography can actually scan your spine and find, whoops, right there and right there. Too much heat, too much irritation. These are areas of potential subluxation. So what we do as chiropractors is we take x-rays, we look for the alignment. I'm showing you a normal x-ray that has no evidence of subluxation. There's a natural curve to the neck. The skull is open. All of the discs are planing properly. There's great spaces, really good alignment, no inflammation. Now, as a reference, if I was to hold this x-ray up, and yes, I have enhanced this to help you see it, there is no curve in the neck. The disc is compressed. There's an alignment issue. There's a bulge and nerve compression. That's joint misalignment. This is decay or degeneration. And the effect now is the nerve is irritated. Can you detect and find subluxations using spinal thermography and x-ray? Yes. Now here's the benefit behind this, guys. If you have a subluxation and you're someone who struggles with type 2 diabetes or even things like high blood pressure or elevated cholesterol that come as a complication, removing the subluxation is one of the first steps to allowing your body to heal by itself. Let me show you another study. Normalization of blood sugar and blood urine or sugar in the urine as measured following the reduction of vertebral subluxations in a patient diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, okay? Note the title of the article. Blood sugars normalized in the blood and the urine following the removal of subluxations. So listen to this. A patient was successfully treated with chiropractic manipulations and dietary modifications. Within 1 month of treatment, glucose levels in both blood and urine stabilized. The conclusion of this article says future research is necessary to determine what percentage of patients with diabetes might benefit from a combination of chiropractic care, removing subluxations, dietary modifications, and exercise. Again, could we take this upon ourselves to become doctors of our own blood sugars and help to see improvements in our life and our health? The answer is yes, and the research is evident. When you have nerve interference or a spinal subluxation, it interferes with the signaling from your brain to your organs. I want you to think of it very similar to that of a dimmer switch. If I take a light bulb and I dim the switch down by 50%, the bulb still works, but it is not as bright as it can be. So if your organs are supposed to secrete insulin and your liver is supposed to metabolize your sugars and they're not working perfectly, are you deficient in medications? Were you somehow born in neglect of metformin and glucophage and Actos and Givenchy and all the pharmaceutical approaches? Or is it simply that you might have an interference in your nervous system? Hey, if you want more information about the nerve connection to diabetes, because I guarantee you it is one of the most overlooked, underdiagnosed conditions as a root cause, download the Diabetes Heal Myself ebook. Inside this ebook is all the information I just mentioned to you. Spinal thermography, how to read it, x-rays, what they should look like, and even information on how you can connect with structural subluxation-based chiropractors that can help you to fix your spine. Simply text the phrase diabetes plus your name and email to 704-906-2094. And hey, as a bonus, you get my instant access masterclass replay. We did it this morning, and it's for you. It'll show you exactly what you need to do to become your own purveyor of your health and start managing your sugars more regularly. Okay, because it's Cliff Notes, guys, we got to go kind of fast. Okay, so cause number 2. This is a big one. What if it's not just a subluxation? What if it's the fact that you have a toxicity interfering with how your receptors for insulin work? So let me go somewhat basic on you. How your body works in regards to sugars and insulin is you have a receptor, and insulin lands on the receptor. It'll send a signal to a channel to open up to allow sugar to get inside the cell and be burned for energy. So in a normal environment, as sugars elevate, insulin elevates, it'll land on the cell, it drives sugar into the cell, and we make energy. This would be normal and healthy. Well, according to a research article published not that long ago, what if diabetes is actually an epidemic of drastic proportions? Remember, 1 out of every $4 is spent on diabetes. It's estimated to have a 54% increase, 54% rise, guys, by the year 2030. And even death rates are going up, 38% climb in complications and morbidities because of diabetes. So this author, who is Dr. Joseph Pizzorno. He's a naturopathic physician, and he's the Integrative Medicine Journal's chief editor. He published an article that says, is diabetes because of a toxicity epidemic? And this opens up a new concept of something called toxin-induced insulin resistance. So think of it this way. When insulin can't land on the receptor, then the signal is not sent to the sugar channel. And so the sugar doesn't move into the cell, and we starve for energy. This is why so many people become fatigued, and we see elevations in blood sugar. Our energy goes down. We stop producing the ability to burn fat. And what's the culprit? It's some sort of a toxin sitting inside the receptor, blocking the ability for insulin to work. Look, this might come as a shock to you, but most type 2 diabetics, they don't have low insulin. They have really high insulin, and they also have really high sugar. So if the cells were working properly, that insulin, which is really high, would land on the receptor, the sugar channel would open, sugar would go into the cell, you'd see a normalization of sugars in A1C. But as a result of toxin-induced insulin resistance, that little guy right there, that toxin landing on top of the receptor, blocking insulin, could be the reason that your sugars are elevated. And what's interesting is, in the article, Dr. Pizzorno himself said the number one toxin that does this is Roundup and/or glyphosate. I'm going to show you a graph. Again, guys, this is Cliff Notes, so if you're on the airways and you need some information, make sure you text over so you can grab all of this. Text your name and your email with the word diabetes right now to 704-906-2094. That's 704-906-2094. Inside the Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook is everything I'm talking to you about today, plus the tips and the techniques you need to implement for correction. And again, you get access to our masterclass, which I hosted today. It's a free online event, and it's right now. You can watch it today. What does the research show? As we have been increasing the spraying and the genetic modification of corn and soy, we've started to see diabetes not follow its natural trend of a rise, but a near drastic increase in the incidence of diabetes connected with the amount of spraying onto the corn and soy products of glyphosate and the genetic modification. So this shows a correlation, guys, between the amount of corn and soy in our food that's genetically modified, the amount of glyphosate sprayed. And I hate to say it to you, but glyphosate has been shown to disrupt the receptor for insulin and physically break it down. Where do you find glyphosate? Well, watch this. The most common sources are any food products that have corn and or soy inside of it. So as you can see, I'm holding up your classic fast food meal in the United States today, loaded with this stuff. Okay, high fructose corn syrup, usually genetically modified in the beverages we consume. The potatoes for the French fries are desiccated with it. The oil that they're cooked in is genetically modified canola oil. There's typically the grains, the wheat in the bun, desiccated again, dried with Roundup. The meat itself, the corn and the soy fed to the cows, genetically modified and sprayed. So what happens is we become inundated with this chemical that's extremely toxic. And by the way, it's not just found in fast foods. There's some reports showing that common cereals and snacks that we consume on a regular basis have been tested positive with glyphosate well above the allowable limits. This includes things like Oreos and Doritos and Goldfish and even Kashi bars and even things like Corn Flakes, Cheez-Its, Ritz crackers, Triscuits, Oreos, etc. There's plenty of research out there that shows the connection between this. So I want you to understand one thing. Today is the day you need to take action and download our ebook, okay? It's Cliff Notes to Diabetes. I'm coming at you fast, but all of the information is in the ebook, which is free for you right now. Text the phrase diabetes plus your name and email to 704-906-2094, and you also get instant access to our masterclass, Diabetes Heal Thyself, where you'll learn about the tricks, and the techniques that you can do right now to start lowering your sugar, lowering your A1C, and watch this. As a side effect, blood pressure, cholesterol, weight, all the things connected with diabetes can start to clear and go away. Hey, when we come back from this commercial break, more about the toxin-induced insulin resistance, and then the heavy hitter of them all, guys, leaky gut and its foundation behind the creation of diabetes. It's the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
What if we told you coffee was good for you?
Coffee is the single highest source of antioxidants in the Western diet. More antioxidants than kale, more antioxidants than 70% dark chocolate, and more antioxidants than blueberries.
In fact, what if we told you that coffee is really good for you?
Research shows that 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day dramatically enhances performance in high-intensity exercise, improves memory, reaction times, and overall cognitive function, decreases risk of depression, promotes weight loss by boosting metabolic rates, reduces risk of type 2 diabetes up to 40%, decreases risk of liver cancer up to 71%, reduces risk of Parkinson's up to 30%, and decreases risk of Alzheimer's up to 65%. Overall, coffee drinkers live longer. People who drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee per day have about a 15% lower risk of premature mortality compared to people who don't drink coffee.
And what if we told you that the health benefits of coffee could actually be increased through conscious roasting, sourcing, and processing? Introducing Purity, a health-conscious coffee company. At Purity, we've brought together a world-class team to analyze every step in the production chain from cherry to cup. We make decisions with only one thing in mind: how can we make the healthiest coffee in the world? Here's our 3-step process. Step 1, we search the world for the highest quality organic green beans that meet our exacting standards. Way less than 1% of coffee worldwide fit our sourcing criteria. Step 2, we test, and test again to create a specific roasting protocol for each harvest that maximizes healthy compounds and minimizes toxins. Step 3, we nitrogen pack our coffee within 48 hours of roasting and deliver to your door every 2 weeks to ensure maximum freshness. The result is the ultimate coffee drinking experience. You'll not only taste the difference in our clean, healthy coffee, with Purity, you'll feel the difference.
Our coffee club members report a bright, alert lift with less jitters than regular coffee and much more gentle on the stomach.
Sign up for Purity today, and you'll never have to worry about your source for healthy coffee again.
Hi, my name is Gary Greenfield with Greenfield Water Solutions, and I want to introduce you to our newest product, the MR500. It's a whole house structured water filter system. It's set up in an all stainless steel multi-round filter housing. It features inlet and outlet for the water, a bleeder valve for when you're changing out the filters to reduce pressure, and to remove the top for access to the filters, we simply open up the clamp, remove the top, and this plate here holds all the filters in place. Simple to remove. It comes out, and you can see what we have on the inside here. It's 5 Aquamedics filters and a vortexing tube and a harmonizer. That's the whole system. This is designed to filter 5 gallons per minute, and all of the contaminants that it does remove are listed on the website, which is a very broad array of contaminants. These are the highest rated filters that I know of on the market that are filter cartridges. They can be changed out yearly. And of course, the process is very simple. You won't have to hire a plumber to do a change out. And the filters are available from Greenfield Water Solutions. And if you want to know more about this, you can read about it on the product page or give us a call. Thanks for watching. That's it for now from Greenfield Water Solutions.
To bring you the best natural wine the world has to offer, we've designed a fully curated membership program. Every selection you receive is different and unique. Every wine is picked by our wine team, lab tested for purity, and curated into a special box for your enjoyment. So how does the membership work? We offer two main options: a half case of 6 bottles or a full case of 12. You can request all reds, all whites, or a perfect split of both. Then you can set the frequency, monthly or every other month. We offer a similar simple membership for rosé and sparkling wines. After you choose these basic options, we'll do the rest. With every box we send you, we aim to present the greatest diversity of flavors, textures, and profiles. There is a healthy mix of the classics, but also rare varietals. We do this because natural wines taste different from their commercial counterparts. We want to share the best possible experience with you, so you can discover new wines you love. And you can always reorder a wine that took your heart, or ask us to avoid certain profiles. The best part is, you don't need any wine knowledge to fully enjoy these boxes. We curate our selections to be enjoyed without worry. Ultimately, this is Dry Farm Wines. We are so grateful to be able to share the power of natural wines with you.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst show. My name is Dr. Aaron Ernst. Hey, today we're talking about the cliff notes to diabetes. What are the functional underlying root causes of why sugars elevate, A1C elevates, and why we see the underlying complicated issues like elevated cholesterols, blood pressure, inflammation, etc. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, diabetes is becoming more and more rampant in the United States. It's estimated that we're going to see an increase to the nature of 50 to 55% elevation in the number of people diagnosed by 2023. This comes out of the report Diabetes 2030, published at the National Institutes of Health. They also mentioned that it's a elevation estimation up to 38% of deaths due to type 2 diabetes. Guys, we're in a state where it's a check engine light condition. It's a warning sign. Something deeper is going on in your body than just your sugars going up and your A1C going up. Yet the pharmaceutical propaganda machine wants to teach you this idea that all you have to do is take a pill. And if the pill doesn't work, all you have to do is take another pill. And if that one doesn't work, all you have to do is try the newest injection that we have, because that one will also make you lose weight and everybody will be happy. Your labs will look good. You'll be 10 or 15 pounds down, but the underlying cause is still there. Okay, I talked about it at the top of the hour. None of you would ever put a piece of tape over the check engine light on your dashboard thinking you've solved the problem. But yet in the United States, our classic conventional approach towards diabetes of medicate, medicate, medicate is just that. So what are these underlying causes from a functional, holistic, natural perspective? Well, it's to try to answer the question, why? Why is the pancreas not performing properly? Why is the liver not regulating your sugars properly? Could it be because of a condition known as neurological subluxation? We talked about this at the top of the hour, how your nervous system directly communicates with all of the organs in your body, regulates their function, and an interference in nerve signal could result in an interference in organic function. And the organs involved with type 2 diabetes, liver, pancreas. The same thing with type 1. Liver, pancreas. So if we want to start to clear interferences, we have to start asking the question no one has asked. Do you have a subluxation in your spine? Is there an interference in your neurological function holding your brain back from talking to your organs at 100%? I mentioned the research that's out there showing that there are patients who have had clearance of their diabetes. And we even had someone text over the break and say, what about type 1 diabetes? Okay, so I went and pulled this. Improvement in A1C in a patient with insulin-dependent type 1 diabetes undergoing chiropractic care. Look how powerful this is. A 4-year-old female who was reliant upon insulin, type 1 diabetic, presented for a chiropractic evaluation. Cervical, thoracic, and lumbar subluxations were found. What is that? There are misalignments in this 4-year-old spine. The patient was seen for a total of 24 visits, and there was a significant decrease in hemoglobin A1C, and watch this right here, resulting in the release and a decrease in insulin usage. Okay, less insulin needing to be injected. Now, did it get rid of type 1 diabetes? No, but guess what? A reduction in insulin means what, guys? It means less inflammation. It means less stress to the body, less oxidation, better neurotransmitters, better cholesterol, blood pressure, and detox pathways open up. Because insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone. Insulin is a master regulatory hormone for the body. So if we can see type 1 diabetes get better in the research, if we can see type 2 diabetes get better in the research, then it begs the question, have you explored the idea that you may have a spinal subluxation, creating the inability for your sugars to be regulated properly? Then number 2, we talked about, since it's Cliff Notes to diabetes, guys, what if it's a toxin inducing the resistance to insulin? Why the insulin isn't working in the first place, thus your sugars being high. Every type 2 diabetic knows the words insulin resistance. They'll hear it from their doctors. For some reason, your insulin isn't working. But don't worry, we have X pill for you to make it work. And while it might improve your sugars temporarily, most people know there are side effects associated with all medications. And unfortunately, here's the rub. Almost every single type 2 diabetic medication has a side effect of weight gain. And yet, guess what we know is correlated to diabetes? The more weight you have, the more likely you are to have diabetes. The worse your diabetes, the more likely you are to gain weight. So it's a safety pin cycle. We get stuck in this loop, and it's very hard to get out. So what if we took the road less traveled and started addressing your subluxations chiropractically? That can help. What if we start testing you to see if you have these toxins that have been connected to insulin resistance? One way of doing that is to take a look at the amount of pesticides and herbicides in your body. We have a complete physical exam we do with our patients here locally in Charlotte. This is an example of a comprehensive metabolic profile. It'll show us, is there a gut leak? What's the stress to your liver? Are your mitochondria healthy? Are you detoxing properly? Are your detox pathways open or closed? Are you absorbing your nutrients? It gives us a metabolic score. And I can tell you one thing, you improve your metabolic score, you'll start to see your health come back. Now, as I mentioned, toxins have a nasty habit of getting inside the insulin receptor, preventing the insulin from landing, thus sugar starts to elevate. And here's the kicker, guys. We know medications are toxic, so it's possible that it only increases the likelihood of you having this resistance. In the study that was titled Diabetes Epidemic, Is It Primarily Due to Toxicity? Dr. Joseph Pizzorno, naturopathic physician, editor-in-chief of the Integrative Medicine Journal, states It's because of several toxins. Glyphosate, Roundup, sprayed onto a lot of our foods and found in a lot of places you guys might not suspect. I talked you through the infographics that we found, the cereals, the snacks, the chips, the crackers, even the healthy bars, protein bars, etc., that have been tested and found positive to have glyphosate. We know it's found in almost all corn and soy products in the United States because of the genetic modification and the heavy spraying. And as I mentioned, there is a prevalence connection, a correlation between the amount of diabetes diagnosed year after year after year and an increase that goes almost line to line with the amount of corn and soy consumed that's been genetically modified and the amount of this pesticide that's sprayed. So you might be asking yourself, how do I find out if I have the pesticide? That's what the urine test does, guys. It shows us, are you toxic? How do we discover if there's things like aluminum or antimony or arsenic or heavy metals that can block the interference and create insulin resistance? Well, the joy of it is today, there's a hair test. Guys, look at this. You can actually get your hair assessed to find out how many metals are inside your body. And the crazy thing is, in the same study that says, is diabetes a toxic epidemic? They highlight some of the common metals that we find associated with diabetes. Number 1, we see arsenic. Number 2, we see, bisphenol A. We see dioxins. We see the organic pesticides. There's the glyphosate. We see phthalates, which are found in beauty products and, cosmetics and a lot of the things we put onto our body. And it was so prevalent that the author came up with the phrase a diabetogen, meaning toxins that induce diabetes. The amount of what you have in your body, toxic-wise, may be the reason that your insulin is not working. And there are tests available. One of the highlighted tests discussed in the article is a common blood test called GGT. It's an enzyme that looked at liver functionality. And what they showed is that the higher levels of GGT you have inside of your body, the more likely you were to find diabetes diagnosed in that person. So translation, if your GGT is going up, your likelihood of developing diabetes goes up. And what is GGT? It's an enzyme that tells us the toxic load inside of your liver because it regulates the recycling of glutathione. And glutathione is your body's major detoxifier. So if you're heavily recycling glutathione, i.e. your GGT is really high, it means your liver is under an extreme toxic load. If your GGT levels are low, then it means you're not recycling glutathione as often. It means your liver is squeaky clean, and the likelihood, therefore, of having a toxin-induced insulin resistance goes down. So in summary, could you have an elevation in your sugars and your A1C because of a subluxation, an interference in your nervous system? We talked about research that shows that. Could you have an elevation in your A1C and insulin and sugars because of having toxicity, known as toxin-induced insulin resistance? Be that from arsenic or aluminum or lead or cadmium or pesticides, things like glyphosate and Roundup found on our food. That's what the research shows. Now, could you also have a condition known as leaky gut, which is prevalent amongst almost every single individual we work with, because what causes gut leak is the elevation in insulin and sugars in the first place. Some of the most recent research is suggesting that elevated blood sugar, i.e. hyperglycemia, having a blood sugar north of 120, actually creates irritation and inflammation to the gut lining, causing it to spread apart. Then we know that the consumption of grains that are high in gluten, like wheat, for example, can cause irritation and inflammation to the intestines, causing them to leak. We know that a lot of wheat is sprayed with Roundup because it's desiccated to dry it, and it's available on all kinds of over-the-counter food products. So we have not only the elevation in sugar from eating those foods, we have the elevation in the pesticide. So it's a double whammy against your gut. We know that toxins like prescriptive medications can cause irritation and create a gut leak. We know that stress and just living in a day-to-day life like today can cause irritation, inflammation, and a gut leak. But what's really interesting to me for those of you taking notes and paying attention, Cliff Notes to Diabetes, third functional cause now, is how they're actually in research showing that maybe changing your bacteria in your intestines and sealing your gut could be a future treatment for type 2 diabetes. Now listen, am I coming at you with just conjecture of me coming up with this stuff? No, you guys know we always dig into the research and we find things that will hint to you, if this is what they're saying, now you go do this to fix it. Can you change your gut? Yes. Can you detox your body? Yes. Can you get subluxations removed from your spine and allow your body to start healing by itself? Yes. Some of these require assistance from either holistic or functionally minded physicians, but they're available and they're out there. Hey, if you're in the greater Charlotte area, do this right now for me. Text the phrase diabetes plus your name and email to 704-906-2094, and I'll give you a complete guide to helping you improve your sugars naturally. Plus, guess what? We had our masterclass today. I've got the replay ready to go. I can send it to you. You can take an hour and watch how you can implement everything I'm teaching you today to start seeing the check engine light go away. Sugars down, A1C down, weight down. Ready for some of the side effects, guys? Blood pressure, cholesterol. Your body can heal itself when you remove interferences and you give it the chance that it was designed to do. Okay, so what does this article say? Well, listen to this. I'll read it to you word for word. The gut microbiome as a target for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. So let's do a little translation. Microbiome are the bacteria in your intestines and how they secrete certain metabolites and things that are toxic. And if they get into the bloodstream, it can cause inflammation, irritation, and it can actually activate a lot of autoimmunity. So listen to the findings. I'm reading it word for word. Experiments in both animal and human studies have produced growing evidence for the causality, did you hear it? The cause of the gut microbiome in the development of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Right there. What are they saying? We know in research, this is 2018, that you can actually have diabetes and obesity because of having a breakdown in your intestines and too much bacteria, or an overgrowth, dysbiosis. It says word for word again, the intestinal microbiota, the bacteria, is known to be associated with metabolic syndrome. Now, what is metabolic syndrome? It's a complex condition of having elevated sugar, triglycerides, cholesterol, and weight. Often we see high blood pressure. Why? Oh my gosh, I hope you can see this. If you've been paying attention since the top of the hour, why? Because we have blamed insulin for being just a blood sugar hormone. When insulin goes up, blood pressure goes up, cholesterol goes up, neurotransmitters go crazy. We feel depressed and anxious. Oxidative stress goes up. Men, our estrogen goes up. Women, our testosterone goes up. And this plays around with everything. And up at the top note, inflammation goes up. So if you have insulin resistance because of a gut leak, it'll spill over into all other avenues. Right here is another one published in 2015, Type 2 Diabetes and the Gut Microbiome at the Intersection of Known and Unknown. So I wonder what they say is known. Ready? The metabolites from the gut bacteria, did you hear it? The waste products, what is given off by the bacteria in your intestines, contributes to the integrity of your gut barrier. Okay, what did they just say? Well, if you have an overgrowth of bacteria and lots of metabolites, you can irritate the gut and cause it to leak. And then it says this, ready? A compromised barrier leads to leakage of inflammatory mediators, chemicals from the bacteria that cause inflammation, into systemic circulation, i.e. your blood, and hence increases insulin resistance. So I'm going to translate this for you. Real simple. An overgrowth of bacteria and inflammation causes a gut leak, compromised barriers. Then the metabolites from the bacteria get into your blood and cause inflammation, and that inflammation can cause insulin resistance. So this article, 2015, guys, almost 10 years ago, they were saying if you have a gut leak, it can cause diabetes. Almost, what was this? 5, 6, 7 years ago, the publication came out. Dr. Joseph Pizzorno. Could diabetes be because of a toxicological issue? Maybe you have too many toxins, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, heavy metals. blocking the insulin receptor, making your insulin levels go up. And again, when insulin goes up, pressure goes up, cholesterol goes up, neurotransmitters are out of balance. I hope you can see it's a intricate sort of symphony, and it's not just going to be solved by taking whatever medication they give to you. Can you control diabetes if you've been diagnosed with it? Yes. We have to stop looking at it as the disease, okay? It is a diagnosis. It is just a label that you've been given to try to describe a host of symptoms. Your sugars are high, you're a little overweight, your cholesterols are high, you have metabolic syndrome, so we're going to label it as diabetes. Now watch this. If instead of just masking that engine light, right, going, oh my gosh, here's the alert and let's try to hide it, we dig, we go down and we try to find out why. Why is the insulin elevated? Is there a subluxation present? Have you ever had your nervous system checked to see if your spine is out of alignment with disc bulges, wedges, and nerve compression, shutting off how your brain communicates with your organs? In this case, most specifically, your pancreas and your liver. I don't know if you've ever had it done. I do these tests on all patients that come to see us, and you know what we find? A massive correlation between people that are diabetic and having neurological subluxations in their neck and their mid-back. Then we do the assessments to look for things like toxins and heavy metals. And often we find, hey, did you not know about this? That you had this metal high and that metal high? We can work on chelation and detoxification. Then we run tests to look at, see, is your liver inflamed? Are you toxic? How much irritation and gut leak is going on? Do you have an inflamed system? Are you producing energy properly? We can find your metabolic scores. And here's the joy of this. Now we can develop a targeted specific therapy program based upon your results. So rather than guessing, let's try this and see what happens in 6 months, we can say, here's what your body is deficient in. Here's where you have an interference. Here's where there is a blockage. Let's work on that. And in 6 months, let's see what happens with your sugars. Do you guys see it? We're not treating diabetes as functional doctors or, as chiropractors. What we're doing is we're teaching you, we're educating you. Hey, you might have this. Hey, you could try this. Hey, let's see what happens. And you know what? I've heard it and I've seen it. We had patients today. You guys can get access to this. The Instant Replay Masterclass, where you'll hear from patients who have resolved their diabetes, gotten rid of their A1C, lost weight as a side effect. And if you'd like to learn how to do that for yourself, take action now. Pick up your phone, open your texting app, and type in this number, 704-906-2094. Type the phrase diabetes, then your name and email, hit send, and this instant ebook will be sent to you, along with the masterclass that's going to show you, here's what you can do. It's a live event that we hosted today. I recorded it, and if you missed it, now's your chance. Text the phrase diabetes with your name and email to 704-906-2094. Guys, listen, I know I'm coming at you hot and heavy, but this is a condition that affects so many Americans, and we've got to stop looking at it as like, well, it's in my family history. I guess I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. I was told that it's because I'm not working out enough and because I eat too much sugar. Okay, maybe, but what if it's actually because you have undiagnosed neurological interference, toxic heavy metals, interference with either a pesticide, an herbicide, a fungicide, some sort of an organopesticide, and your gut's leaking? Okay, I'm here to tell you, all the years I've been in practice, I'm going on almost 15 years now, we've seen hundreds of patients struggle every day going, I keep pricking my finger and I'm seeing numbers that are too high. I tried this new medication and, I got a side effect from it and I'm looking for a way out. The way out is for you to be educated in the root causes and start implementing corrective therapies for that. There are structural-based chiropractors that can help you remove subluxations. There are holistic and natural physicians that can help you to identify, tag, and remove toxins. There's a simple diet that you can follow that'll help your body to heal by itself. And where is the summary of all this stuff for you guys? Yep, in the Diabetes Heal Thyself ebook. And it's yours free. Text the word diabetes with your name and email right now, 704-906-2094. And again, you get instant access to the masterclass replay. You can watch it this weekend and you can take action immediately. Hey, thanks for tuning in this week. Love the fact you guys keep following us. Thanks for sending all the encouraging emails and the results. If you've got a story to share, shoot it over to us. Visit AskDrErnst.com, click Contact Us, and we'd love to hear how you have transformed yourselves by implementing the things we've been teaching to you. Starting next week, we're shifting gears into thyroid. That's fatigue and energy and weight loss resistance. We can help you to bounce back from a thyroid issue, and that all starts next week. I look forward to seeing you guys each and every week right here, 3 p.m. on News Talk 1110 WBT. Be blessed. Have a great day.